Hello everyone, Gammon here. About 3 weeks ago I said to myself, hey, you should play a bunch of really nice short video games so that you can, practice doing some gaming reviews and capturing game footage. I remembered Yakuza was, mostly about big tough guys hitting each other in the street, thought it was a beat 'em up, saw Yakuza 0 was on sale and said, hey, fuck it, let's give it a whirl. 88 hours later, and with the in-game completion bar telling me I've only gone through about 70% of the content, I'm starting to realize I may have been slightly off.
I made a huge tiny mistake.
Yakuza 0 is not a beat-em-up. It's actually closer to an open-world JRPG, with everything that entails, including random mob battles, item shops, inns, and a fishing minigame for some reason. But in Yakuza 0, the item shops are actual supermarkets, the inns are restaurants, and the random mobs are actual mobsters. And let me tell you, it's actually an incredibly fun and incredibly dense game. Despite what my playtime may have suggested, there's almost no grinding or wasted time in Yakuza, and the hours I spent on the game were spent on a surprisingly varied amount of activities. RC racing, dancing, karaoke, bowling, darts, some classic Genesis games I actually have no idea how they got the rights to, an actual catfighting club, and of course running a successful real estate firm and a hostess club are just some of the things you can do in Yakuza 0. And they're all over the top and just reveling in their own stupidity and fun. For instance, this is karaoke. This is dancing. And this is answering the phone. Yakuza is unapologetically over the top and just hype in everything, and it makes the entire game feel great. The crazy amount of side activities would shame just about every other game on the market and ensures that just about everyone will find a bunch of things he loves to do, though admittedly it also means almost nobody will like them all. But it becomes even more impressive when you consider the size of the game's world. Yakuza 0 is essentially divided fairly evenly between two very small parts of Japan. Kamurocho, which is Tokyo's entertainment district, and Satenbori, Osaka's entertainment district. Both of these maps are small, but they're filled with things to do. They're exploding with them, to the point where it's actually hard to walk down the street without bumping into something new to do. It could be one of the games or a side quest. And the side quests are a trip and incredibly eclectic. Some of them are incredibly wholesome, like helping a dude propose to his girlfriend or reminding everyone that RC racing is all about friendship. Some of them are just completely absurd, like training a dominatrix, having a dance-off with Michael Jackson, or helping a kid buy a nudie magazine. Some of them are also kinda dark, like helping a reporter uncover a human trafficking ring, or helping a wanted man that had his face changed see his family for one last time. They're all crazy in their odd little ways, they're all incredibly memorable and fun, and there's a lot of them. I cannot overstate how packed with content these maps are. But the side content isn't the only reason this game is so long, or so good. There is obviously the main story and the combat as well, and they're both superb. Let's start talking about the combat. As you travel around Japan, you will be assaulted by roaming gangs of hooligans of various types, and sometimes Mr. Shakedown. Run away from Mr. Shakedown. Both protagonists have 3 different fighting styles, each can be upgraded by using money and investing it in yourself. This lets you unlock new moves, new abilities, longer combos, and even flat bonuses like more HP, more defense, and more powerful punches. And each fighting style is fucking rad, such as Kiryu's Beast Mode, which focuses on using the environment and just throwing things around like they weigh nothing and being a giant fucking badass, or Majima's breakdancing, which is just so incredibly over the top it makes my face hurt from smiling. Street fights are usually very short, lasting a few minutes at most. Most of them will end in under a minute, and they never feel annoying because, well, all of the crazy shit you can do to your opponents. But you know what? Actually, let me take a step back, cool down, and talk about heat. Heat is represented as 3 bars under your health bar, and is essentially how fired up your character is. Heat has 3 levels, and managing it is incredibly important. It doesn't just influence how hard you hit or how much defense you have, it more importantly has an impact on how fast you can hit and unlock special moves called heat actions. Understanding the way heat interacts with your fighting style really matters. So for instance, Majima's bat has insane defensive capabilities and does really good damage with okay speed even at heat level 1. On the other hand, breakdancing is only really useful on level 3. Without it, you're just gonna get stun locked, because it kinda relies on incredibly fast movement to stun your opponents and throw them around, and at heat level 1, you're basically a turtle. Heat is gained by hitting your opponents, and later in the game by dodging and blocking with some styles. It's lost by getting hit, standing still, or using heat actions. Heat actions are essentially small little cutscenes where you'll do something incredibly cool that usually deals insane amounts of damage at the cost of heat. While this may sound very simple, there is a surprising amount of context-sensitive actions as well as heat actions that you can do with each style. So honestly, you should look at most of the random encounters you have as a way to test out and practice your new moves. And you're going to be needing that practice. Unlike the random mob battles at different parts of the story, you're eventually going to end up in extended fighting sequences. And unless you've practiced and came equipped with a bunch of health potions, medicine and sushi, you're going to have a hard time. The fighting gauntlets are usually fairly long and have a lot of enemies thrown at you. They also throw a mini boss or 2 at you before you end up against, the actual boss. Boss fights in Yakuza are hype as fuck. Not just because of the incredible intro you usually get, which just really hypes you up towards the fights, but also because they generally require good pattern recognition and, tactical thinking, which is something you don't really need when you're fighting the mobs because, well, you go through them like hot knife through butter, and they're usually just there for you to throw them around like ragdolls. So it's, a nice addition to round out the gameplay. And now we've reached the main story. From everything I've talked about until now, you're probably thinking the main story of Yakuza is incredibly light and fun, and well, you'd be wrong. While Yakuza 0's gameplay and side activities are unapologetically fun and video gamey, the main content, the main story, is a sincere and heartfelt love letter to old Yakuza TV shows and films. It's based in the 80s when Japan's economy was booming, and it has just about everything. Rivaling factions fighting each other over money, love, betrayal, friendship, civilians getting caught in the crossfire, giant plot twists, and so much more. The story is dark, gritty, it's punctuated with scenes of insane violence and action, and it is just played so incredibly straight while also being at top gear throughout the entire game. Its plot twists caught me completely off guard, and I did not expect this level of political intrigue and just oddly philosophical speeches in my I'm gonna hit you in your face, scare you game with big giant muscly dudes. It is incredible, which is exactly why I'm not going to talk much about it, because you should experience it for yourselves for the first time. But unless you hate good stories, you really should play this game. Anyway, you'd think that the two parts I just talked about would clash. That is, that the fairly dark story would end up not working with the incredibly light side content. But the two are somehow merged together without the transition between them ever breaking the immersion. It's really expertly done. So, yeah, I didn't get what I thought I'd get with Yakuza 0. I thought I'd get a short, fun beat 'em up, and I ended up getting an incredible 80 plus hour game flooded with fun side content, a fairly complex fighting system, and an incredible, dark, gritty, and complex story that had me on the edge of my seat and completely emotionally invested in the characters and the world. Talk about first world problems. And hey, there's some more good news. As of the time I'm putting this video up, Yakuza 0, which was already a cheap ass game considering just how much content it had, is half off. So if any of what I just said made you want to pick this game up and try it for yourself, you can absolutely do it now for an absurdly low price. Especially when you consider just, how good this game is. But I can't really go into much more without spoiling the game. So, yeah, that should be enough for now. Thanks for watching.